Want to see what frost damage does to a nice big tall bean plant? You can see how high that was. The frost completely wiped that out. It was doing very, very well. So was this one. You can see the leaves are completely burnt. The stalks, though, at the very, very bottom are still green, so there is a chance that it might come back to life. I have nothing else to plant here right now because my backup beans aren't ready yet to plant, so I'm just leaving this in the ground. You know, with a little bit of help, a little bit of luck, maybe they'll come back. Probably not, but you know, it is what it is. This is a cucumber, outdoor cucumber. I have that other cucumber in there. If it does make it, I'll plant that right over here, and I'll have two cucumbers. This is a big enough container. I can get away with that, and they can just kind of mix together. They're both the same variety, so they can cross-pollinate. It doesn't matter. This cucumber will fill up this entire trellis, no problem, once it's fully grown. I had a zucchini squash was planted right here. You can imagine what the frost did to that. This is gone, destroyed. I don't see that coming back ever. But I have a backup zucchini, as I just showed you. One of them will be going right there. I had a watermelon planted right here. The frost wiped that out quickly. I'll be planting one of those watermelon seeds right in here. This is a pumpkin destroyed by frost also. I will be planting one of those pumpkins, the strongest one I have. I'll be planting right here as soon as it's ready. Again, I'm just leaving it in the ground, let it decompose. Doesn't hurt anything, just leaving it in the ground. It'll die and it turns into nutrients for the next plant. Right here is a zucchini plant. It's growing very good. Daphna's mom brought this over as a gift on Mother's Day, so we planted that in the ground. We love squash, so that's going to be a nice plant. And I will be planting out here where we had the manure. I'll be just throwing a watermelon and a pumpkin out here and let it just vine out, cover up all these weeds. This isn't our area, but nobody cares if we plant anything here, so I'm going to utilize the space. Why not? So that's what we have actively growing. I'll show you over here. Okay. And here is a little seedling space we built. Basically, it was just an outdoor kitchen. It used to be. I now utilize it to put my tools and stuff in. I've installed a heater and also a floor heater, which is what this thing is. It keeps the soil nice and warm. Basically, what I figured out, there's 4 components to growing seeds. Number 1, and I'd say in this order of importance, soil temperature is number 1, ambient temperature number 2, humidity number 3, and then light is the last thing. I don't even think you even need light to grow a seed. It's just when it actually sprouts, that's when it needs light. This does get a little bit of light during the day that helps it along, but as you can see, it's nice and humid in there. We keep them in there. The temperature stays a constant 22 degrees Celsius, the soil temperature, which is the most important thing. That's 22 degrees Celsius. And the heater automatically kicks in if it gets cold enough. It will automatically turn on and keep the room at a perfect temperature. And we have all sorts of different stuff growing in here. These are basically some flowers, got some tomatoes, just some backups. That's what we have growing. Backup plants for pretty much everything I have, in case we lose a plant for whatever sickness, death, or disease, bugs, whatever. I can always have a backup, which I recommend. For every one plant you plant, I recommend planting an extra. So you always have 2 of everything, and then you get to pick from the strongest one, and you can plant that in the ground. Turn around. So that is the propagation area now. I did, if you remember the last video, I used to have it in the greenhouse. I used to do the seedlings out there, and I think it was just too hot during the day. It was, the seedlings weren't doing very well at all. It was just too hot. So in here I have a controlled environment. It's much more It's easier to pay attention to work with. It doesn't require as much water. It always stays nice and warm in there, nice and moist. Here's a felt salata I planted as an experiment just to see if something could grow over here. This is a very shaded area. The felt salata is actually growing very well here. So what my plan is I'm going to dig up all this clay dirt that's here, pretty much in this whole area, and I'm going to plant a bunch of stuff, some vegetables over here that doesn't require a lot of sunlight. Anything that's like requires shade to grow, I'll put over here, and I think it'll be nice and healthy. Grows well. And over here we have our spices. The magi is growing nicely. We have some mint. This is a basil, however you want to say it, plant. Parsley is growing fantastic. We just watered, so it's all spread out, but normally it's clumped together. What was that again?
Rosemary.
Rosemary, that's right. And then these are chives. The chives, as you can see, are growing great. We've already used a bunch, as you can see. Cut off the stalks. That's great. I love chives. And then last but not least, planted some a couple tomato seeds out here. These are not vining tomatoes. They're called definite, and they reach to a definite height instead of indefinites, which is in the greenhouse, which are vining tomatoes. This is called a bush tomato. It'll only grow about this high. I have the glass over it to create humidity because they're just seeds in here. They haven't sprouted yet, so the soil, you can like feel the soil. It's nice and warm, which is what it wants. Might grow, it might not. If it doesn't sprout, I have the backups in the propagation room, so I'll plant those if these don't come up. I just put them in there just to see what would happen. And right over here, we have some blueberries. As you can see, the blueberries are coming really nice. Going to be a lot of them this year. The bees are all over it. They love it. And then we have a big raspberry bush. This thing is growing wild. Really, really good. Going to be a lot of raspberries this year. Last year when we were in the other house, we had it in a container and we only got a couple raspberries out of it. Planted it in the ground. It's already got some side shoots coming. We're going to require more trellising here and stakes and everything because it's going to just keep expanding, which is fine with my wife and I because we both like raspberries. So we'll get plenty of raspberries. And that is it. That is the greenhouse in Germany. And we'll do another video in a couple weeks, show you what's going on. Talk to you later.